Hey everybody, Scorpion here. So I'm gonna scrap out one of these hand knives. I already left the blade, threw it over with the rest of my scrap. So I'm left with this piece to take apart. Never taken one apart before, so we're gonna see what is in it. Y'all stand by.
Rock bottle on the track, boy.
Alright, it's important to have the right tools. Anyway, we packed up earlier because we were going to make a trip. I'm sure there'll be a video posted about the trip. Maybe a couple videos. We'll see. But in the meantime, I got a little bit of time to burn, so let's make sure I'm doing this. Let's see. Trash. Look at all them goodies. We'll give y'all a word of advice. When you're getting stuff like this, it's coming out of other people's houses. There's absolutely no telling what you might find in it. So, be careful. I am dropping this stuff in the wrong thing. Oh well, I'll fix that later. So it looks like there's an aluminum frame in here. There's some wire. Of course there's a motor. And you got some version of a gearbox. It looks like it's half metal, half plastic, with a fan on the front of it to help circulate some of the air through there to keep the motor cool. I guess technically it's got two fans. I would think with this screw, it kind of looks like everything else ought to be about ready to fall out. So let's see what happens here. They run the wires that way to get you that switch up here on the top for the burst. That's fine. We'll cut these off and call it a day because it ain't worth ripping that apart for that little bit of wire. As I said, a couple dead roaches there. Can't ever find, you might open something up and find a snake in it or something, you can't tell. Be prepared for anything. Alright, so, again, there's a knot in it, pet peeve, don't like it. So, we'll straighten that out. Take all these and clip them off. on to the electric motor. So the electric motor is connected to the aluminum frame. You see all of it spins together. So we'll have to separate that somehow. It looks like there's a fan in the way to reach these screws. And then there's screws in here. So let's see. Good thing about scrapping, you can just tear stuff up. There we go. Now I can reach these, which you can see here. And some people might would just try to throw the whole thing in with a motor, or toss it in with scrap instead of taking the time to take this apart. I want to throw the motor with the motors and the scrap with the scrap, because that's just how I do stuff. Again, keep your scrapyard happy, and they're not going to be checking behind you and giving you a hard time. Last thing any of us need is an extra headache. So that's scrap. Wire, scrap, scrap. Wire. These rings on here, they might be brass. I don't take the time to separate much of that. So there is a hole through here, and that fan actually has holes in it, which I think is pretty neat. So if you look in here, you can see straight into the screws on both sides. If you flip it up here, as you can see, it's missing a fin on both sides, so it lines up. So you can take those out, which is amazing because nothing ever works that well. Yep, that's not gonna work. And that won't fit. So at this time, this is going to be where I'll stop at on this. I will finish tearing this apart at a later date. Fairly certain I could probably just throw that in as a motor like that, because I took the other piece off. But if you take these screws out right here, these should come off and you'd be left with just the motor itself. So I'll get a bigger, longer, skinnier screwdriver, like that makes too much sense, but y'all know what I'm talking about, and get that taken apart later. So we'll finish stripping the wire from this stuff. That goes with the wire, and of course I'll take the sheath off and this stuff. And then you're left with your switch that cuts it on and off. This looks copper. A lot of pieces here look, I'm going to go with brass, but I'd have to test it to see. It's got kind of that gold look to it. It might be gold coated, who knows. And this pin up here is brass. So you just cut that stuff apart, and these will probably pull right out without any problems with pliers. And that's pretty much a tear down of a hand mixer. Hope y'all enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time.